Hey everyone. Well, they did it. Pompey are safe. This is the celebratory podcast, and welcome to the penultimate playout podcast this season. As we look back over the last couple of weeks to celebrate Pompey securing another season in the Championship with 2 games to spare. I'm joined again by Reece and Phil to wax lyrical at just how super the team were after what was a difficult home draw against Derby, which left the nerves jangling, and Pompey only 4 points from safety. Seems quite a long time ago, that. It did mean, though, that their fate was still in their own hands, and first up was a trip to Carrow Road and a Norwich side who had slumped to mid-table and had blown any playoff chances. A pretty bonkers match then ensued. Early on, there was a shot on target for both sides that did nothing to trouble either keeper. Not long after that, though, Bishop nodded back across goal to score from a Ritchie cross. Amazingly, that was Ritchie's first assist of the season. Only for Josh Sargent to level from a corner as he lashed in from 8 yards. Another scramble in both boxes should really have taken the tally to 2 more goals. And just before the break, Pompey gained the lead again. This time, Ritchie drove home a Murphy cross. And on the stroke of half-time, Pompey were given a penalty when Hayden was tripped in the box. Bishop slammed the ball home after his recent miss, and it was 3-1. Bishop got his first Pompey hat-trick early in the second half, finishing well from a Murphy flick to make it 4-1. But the game was far from over, though, as Norwich got another from a quick break and very porous defending from Pompey. Paul made it 5-2 from an Ashish cutback before Marcondes scored a ridiculously looping header to make it 5-3. And thankfully, that's where it ended for the scoring, with a vital win for Pompey. So, fellas, who was there? Were you there, Reece?
No, I didn't go to that one, unfortunately.
No, none of us were there. We were all watching nervously on the telly. It was a pretty bonkers game, wasn't it? I couldn't believe what was happening.
No, I wasn't expecting it, although I know Norwich were like the worst team in the division on form over the last couple of months. But considering our away form rather, and only beating kind of lowly teams, I think we were all hoping for a point. So for the game to unfold as it did was bonkers, but extremely welcoming. And to be honest, I mean, they were terrible. Absolutely. The defending was just woeful. I mean, that was Pompey in 3 or 4 games into the season. So it's I'm not surprised their manager got sacked, but we took full advantage. We were well up for it and scored some good goals. And yeah, won the game.
Norwich were like watching a completely different team to the team that came to Fratton Park. So I remember, obviously, we played really well at Fratton Park against them, and particularly I remember Devlin up against Borja Sainz, who pretty much marked him out the game. But all I remember from the earlier game at Fratton Park was what a great sort of like possession game. They played the way they passed the ball around nicely. At this game, there was none of that at all. You don't want to use the phrase manager losing dressing room, but it looked like there was a load of players that really did not give a monkeys. Pompey were good, don't get me wrong. It won't go down as one of our greatest ever performances, but they made it absolutely simple for us. But yeah, good to see Colby get a hat trick. That was really nice.
What wasn't one of their players or somebody associated with the club before the match, like earlier in the week, going, "Yeah, we're not on the beach. We're gonna really like do our fans proud. We want to have some respect, and we want to do really really well." And then when you hear their commentary going, "Oh, we've made a change here, and we've got a young 19-year-old who's come in here," and then it just like went to absolute. Wow, it's terrible, wasn't it? Absolutely terrible.
And was this the game that fullback that
Yeah,
looked like he's about
yeah,
14? Yeah.
yeah.
That's the one. Yep.
Yeah.
He missed a sitter of a header.
He did.
Yeah.
He could have put them 2-1 up. I mean, it was 3 or 4 yards out, and he hit it straight at Schmidt, who couldn't believe his luck, to be honest, really. So yeah, had that gone in, it might have been a very different game.
You could tell his mind was on his maths homework that's to be handed in on the Monday, and I think he was. It can be understandable. It's understandable.
Well, I mean, it was bizarre because when some subs came in the second half, he was switched to the other fullback position. He wasn't taken off. They thought we tried him on the right side. We'll give him a go at left back as well. But Norwich had this really bizarre. I saw the touch map in after the game. Somebody posted it online, and all of Norwich's midfield players and defenders were within a square in the middle of the pitch, no more than sort of 15 yards square. And so they were trying to overload the middle. But of course, that left them so wide, so open at the widths because they had no cover. When they lost the ball, which they did on 2 or 3 occasions because of our pressing, we just broke straight on them. It was ridiculous. And because we press and we pack our midfield, I don't know what their manager was trying to achieve. Clearly, what he was trying to do was not going to work against us, even if we weren't fighting to stay in the league. So it was a bit bizarre, and he rightly got the sack, and it's Jack Wilshere's green and yellow army now, isn't it? He's the guy who's got the caretaker role. So it was a brilliant match, fantastic to watch. I mean, when you go 4-1 up after nearly an hour, it's away from home, and it's the first time we've played like that away from home. It's a much easier watch. That's also Bishop's. It was his first senior hat trick as well as Art for us. I don't think he scored a hat trick before.
It was also a perfect hat trick as well.
Yeah.
Right foot, left foot, and header.
It was absolutely, yeah. So a very good day for Colby, and Regan Poole obviously finished it off with a finish to make it what was then 5-2. But we still didn't make it that easy for ourselves.
It was probably O'Shea's best game, I would have thought, but he had so much time and space and everything. He probably couldn't do. But was it somebody in the quiz or last time we spoke that somebody mentioned that Richie had not got any assists, and then suddenly the next game he gets his first assist. So
it was Phil on the last pod, actually. I think you quoted that stat, didn't you, Phil?
I did. Anything you want me to quote about any other player that you quite fancy heaping some money on for tomorrow, let me know.
Has Murphy got a hat trick this season?
Murphy has not got a hat trick this season. Get your money on it.
Yeah. Well, So that was probably 50% of the job done. Pompey then went into the Bank Holiday Monday game knowing a win against Watford would almost certainly see them safe. An early double chance nearly saw Pompey take the lead. Richie, having an effort parried and then a follow-up header, was tipped over the bar. Murphy then made a trademark run down the wing and whipped in a cross, which the goalkeeper made a complete mess of, and Bishop scored with a diving header. Replays show that the keeper bounced it off his head into the net. Then Schmidt produced what is arguably the save of the season when a dipping 30-yard shot from Loser looked like it would hit the top corner, but the fingertips of the keeper's gloves nudged it onto the bar and out again. Into the second half, and Murphy stole the ball and raced down the length of the pitch, only to shoot tamely. To calm Pompey nerves, Watford lost a player. Kebben being shown a red for being the last man when Murphy got goal side of him, and he trod on the winger's Achilles to bring him down. The game wound down even though there were 10 minutes injury time. Pompey using Saydee to protect the ball in the corner flag for most of that time. And there was huge relief and joy when the ref blew his whistle at the final end. So there we go. That was the clincher, the win we wanted. Pompey were finally safe. It wasn't a great game though, was it really?
Watford are a horrible, horrible team.
They were a lot better than Norwich. Norwich, as you said, Phil, probably didn't really put up much of a fight. But even though Watford didn't have anything to play for, they were one of the best sides I thought I'd seen at Fratton Park all season, to be honest.
I thought one of the most horrible sides I've seen, and there's been some competition for that. I thought the irony of it was their keeper was outstanding, and the goal, the goal we scored was down to a mistake by him. But I mean, we could have had a hat for it if it wasn't for him. Colby could have had back-to-back hat tricks, I think.
Yeah, there was lots of chances. I think I was impressed by Watford because they really moved the ball really, really quickly through midfield, and they had those. I mean, Loser in the middle was really annoying. He's one of those really good players, like Bannon for Sheffield Wednesday, who seemed to be absolutely everywhere. He was either receiving the ball or passing the ball, and that shot was just. I mean, we saw one from Harness, didn't we, a couple of weeks before that hit both bar and post. But this one, Schmidt, you have to watch the replay a few times, but you do see it flick off the fingers of his glove and hit the bar and come out again. And like I said, apart from his one-handed save low down, what was that one away from home where he saved it point blank range, and sort of did like a Banks type save, flicked it around the post or over the bar.
Okay, was that Plymouth?
Was that Swansea?
Could be Swansea or Plymouth or something like that.
Could be I think it might be Swansea. Up until then, that was my save of the season. But the one against Loser was just terrific. He really launched himself into the air. You can see he flicked his hands up just to get that extra quarter of an inch just to try and flick it onto the bar. Great save.
We didn't think he touched it because at first when the referee the linesman gave a corner, we were telling the linesman that his eyesight wasn't that good. It was only seeing it after the game, but yeah, incredible save.
Yeah, are we really giving Harness the credit for that cross that kind of was? That wasn't a shot, surely.
No, you're right.
That was coming in from that was like out on the wing.
Well, I'm
Losers.
not sure credit's the right thing. From my vantage point, low on the North Terrace, it looked like a shot from me. May not have been,
No,
I don't know,
it
but
was.
it certainly went towards the
It
goal.
went towards the goal, and it was a cross that hit the crossbar, hit the post, and then went out again. Whereas losers was an absolute proper. It was a proper hit. It was almost as good as Bramall's at Preston. That was a 40-yard screamer that went moved in the air and hit the post.
Yes, you're right there. Yeah. So I guess the funniest thing about the game was Saydee keeping the ball between his legs for 10 minutes in the corner flag and
Game
him
management.
just bouncing people off him. Yeah. Well, where was that where was that the rest of the season?
Well,
Like, how many times have we had the opportunity to try and see out the last 5 or 10 minutes of a game, and we haven't been able to do it?
The thing that I remember about Watford was the 20 minutes of Matt Ritchie shithousery at the end of the game with the refs, the players, the lot. He had the full repertoire of how to waste time, wind up the opposition, the fake kicks when having a corner and the players rushing back, pointing at them to then move back again. It was absolute masterclass. That is a guy who's been around the block and learned a few tricks. And you're absolutely right. Why weren't we doing that at Coventry away and things like that? But it was absolutely brilliant. And he was orchestrating it. Everything was going through him. He was in the ear of the referee, the linesman. Crikey, yeah. It was some performance, and that's sometimes what you got to do.
One of the guys I sit with is he anytime any opposition team does anything remotely like that, he will not stop telling how it's against the spirit of the game and how it's terrible and how the referee needs to do something about it. He was very quiet. He's very quiet for that sort of 15-minute spell. Didn't even peep out of him.
Yeah,
I think what struck me as well is, and recently, is the resurgence of Saydee. Not just because you can get him to crab up and shield a ball, but he's made quite a number of sort of sub appearances and starting appearances the last few weeks. To me, he looks a little bit, I would say fitter, but he looks a little bit leaner and a little bit fitter.
or mobile.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, he's never going to be the quickest player ever, but I think it's more to do with knowing when to stop with the ball, like he used to. And he used to do that all the time last season and early this season. He just used, as soon as he got with the ball, he'd put his arms out and his backside out and go, right, okay, no one's getting the ball, which is okay in certain situations, but you need to start moving the ball about. But I've been quite impressed by his cameos recently.
Was it Watford?
I hope he starts tomorrow.
Was it Watford that in the first half where he literally bulldozed through two defenders and then he had a shot on target that saved, or was that a different game? I can't remember which one.
No, that was Derby.
That was Derby, was it? Okay, but yeah,
he was very unlucky.
I think you're right. He has looked a little bit more effective, a little bit contributing more towards the game, I think. I mean, he gets the crowd going. He's an absolute unit, but he hasn't really produced much from it. And I don't know whether that's because we haven't quite worked out how to play him or what position is best for him. I don't know, but it's clear Mourinho likes working with players and he can get looking to develop players. And he's only, is he 22, 23? He's quite
22,
he's quite young, isn't he? So I don't know. I mean, he's on the list of he's probably going to leave, but I don't know. I don't know whether he's out of contract this year. This year.
No, he's not out of
But
contract.
I don't know.
No. But he gives us something a bit different, doesn't he? We don't have a player like him. So you look at some of the substitutions you make, and they're very much like for like. Bring someone on to do something similar, or usually not quite as well as the person they've taken off. But with Saydee, he does offer opportunity to play a bit differently. So I think he's undervalued. But like I said, I'd like to see him start tomorrow. Be good to see him get a nod.
Yeah, so against Derby, we played 4-3-3, matched up against their three in the middle, and him and Hayden played as eights, bizarrely. Now that's not a position I would ever think to see him play, but it was Potts as a six and him and Hayden as an eight. So he was playing much more of a central midfield role, which if you could argue, suits his style, because if he's in that midfield battle, he can start breaking things up and moving the ball through midfield. I think if he's played as a 10 or a split striker, the problem is that with his lack of pace, he's never going to break any lines, or he's or even get the ball and beat someone. But like you say, Reece, he did do that against Derby, so you never know.
Yeah.
Right, Phil, we're not going to go on to the Sheffield Wednesday party just yet. Well, you've got another quiz for us, hopefully. Reece and I are ready. If you'd like to lay it on us.
All right, so I do have a quiz, and given that tomorrow is the last game of the season, I thought we'd do a little quiz about the last game of the season.
Oh,
so he's already got his head in his hands. I'm not going to go back too far. These are games that have happened in the last 10 years. So I'm going to give you a chance to randomly pick a year. And what I want from you, I'm going to tell you who we played. I'm not even going to ask you difficult one of who did we play. I'm going to ask you who we played, and you've got to tell me whether it was home or away. You get a point for that. Whether he won, lost, or drew, you get a point for that. What the score was, a point for that, and then 2 points for my bonus follow-up question.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
This is good.
I usually go to Reece first. So, Scott, I'm going to let you start this time. So if you want to pick a number between 1 and 10.
I will go for 7, please.
Number 7. Okay. Cast your minds back to 2017. Last game of the season, we played Cheltenham Town.
We did.
So, Scott, was that home or away?
I couldn't have got an easier one, could I? And that was very definitely at home. The score was 6-1.
Scott, we have a follow-up question for that. Did we win? Did we?
We did indeed. And I think the score was 6-1.
You're correct. But can you make a clean sweep by answering the following question? Which of the following players did not score for Pompey in this game? Was it Kyle Bennett, Connor Chaplin, Cal Naismith, Jamal Lowe, or Gareth Evans?
I'm going to go for Kyle Bennett.
Afraid you're wrong. It was Connor Chaplin didn't score. The Pride of Worthing.
Connor.
Yeah. But well done, Scott. That's a very good start. 3 out of 5 on that one.
I think I was a bit lucky there.
Yeah. Reece, let's see if you can be as lucky.
Number 8, please.
Number 8. So a bit more recent, 2022. Sheffield Wednesday, last game of the season. Was that home or away?
Really? Was that at home?
It was away.
Great.
Did we win, lose, or draw, Reece?
It's not the game I thought. We lost.
We lost. We did lose. And what was the score?
2-1.
And my follow-up question for 2 points. Only one player in this Pompey side of 2022 is still with the club. Who was it?
No multiple choice. Unbelievable.
No.
Somebody still with the club.
Still with the club, yeah. And playing regularly.
Colby Bishop.
No, it's Connor Ogilvy.
Okay. I cannot remember that
Scott,
game at all.
I couldn't as well either when I was doing my extensive research in a pub beer garden.
That was Cowley era, wasn't it? Or was it the end of? Yeah, it was Cowley.
No, it's Cowley. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
I think they'd not long been in.
Yeah, over to you, mate. Number between 1 and 10, Scott.
Sorry, number 1, please.
Number 1. Okay, well, we are going back to 2023. We played Wycombe Wanderers. So was that home or away?
That would have been John Mousinho, and so I think it was away, and we probably lost.
No, it was at home.
Okay.
And we drew.
And we drew.
We drew.
Well, if it was John Mousinho's first season, of course it was a draw.
And what was the score then?
I'll go for 1-1.
So close, it's 2-2. And your bonus question, 1 point for each person. 2 Pompey players played in goal that day. Who were they? Not both at the same time.
I'll go for... No. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
So he gave a start to Josh Olowoyemi, remember him, who probably got injured and was replaced by Matt Macy.
Wasn't that the game that he got lobbed from about halfway line?
Think it was, yes.
Yeah.
No points for that though, Reece. So Reece, over to you, Reece.
Number 5.
No. Number 5. Okay. Right, so 2018, Reece.
God, right.
We played Peterborough United.
Crikey. Okay.
Was it at home or away?
I'll say that was at home.
It was at home. Did we win or lose or draw?
Did we lose?
No. We won.
Did we?
Would you want to have a hazard a guess at the score?
1-0?
2-0.
2-0.
The follow-up question, one of the Pompey team left Fratton Park at the end of the season and actually signed for the day's opponents, Peterborough United. Who was it?
Oh, was it the one of the brothers?
It was.
The right
You're
was
going
it?
to pick the wrong one, Reece. You're going to pick the
Is
wrong
it? Is
one.
it?
We know it.
Is it Nathan? Oh, what was his name? Is it Nathan?
They weren't twins, Reece. That's a clue. They weren't twins.
God,
80s music reference.
Yeah.
Thompson. Nathan Thompson.
Yes,
Thank
very
you.
good. Very
Mm.
good, Reece.
Cool.
Right, Scott, over to you. Number between 1 and 10.
I'm going to go for 4, please.
Number 4. Right, I'm glad you asked this one because this has got my favourite follow-up question of the evening. You lucky,
I'm in
lucky
trouble
man.
then, I think. Yep.
2016, we played Northampton Town. Was it home or away?
I have a feeling I have away.
It was at home.
We did go to the away. We did go to the away match that
Yeah, I
season.
think we did. Yeah.
Did we win, lose, or draw?
I'd be horrified if we didn't beat Northampton at home. But yeah, so I'll go for a win, please.
We lost. And what was the score? And what was the score?
Well, I don't care. But it was. I'll go for something like 2-0.
Oh, it's 2-1. So the question which I'm particularly proud of, can you name Pompey's goalkeeper of the day? Now, he shares his name with the actor who played George Roper in Man About the House and George and Mildred, who coincidentally was born in Ventnor and spent much of his early life in Portsmouth.
Where did you get that from?
It's one of those weird facts that I should know because I have watched George and Mildred in my time.
One for the kids.
Yeah, I can't remember. No, go on, tell me.
Brian Murphy.
Brian Murphy, yes.
Who played alongside Uther Joyce, who's never played for Pompey. Right, over to Reece.
Number 10, please.
Number 10. Now here's a good one. 2015.
Right. Okay.
We played York City.
Okay.
Was it home or away?
So it was away.
It was at home. Did we win, lose,
I can't
or
believe
draw?
how terrible we are at this. This is
I know.
awful.
Did we win, lose, or draw, Reece?
So of course, it was the York to Pompey ride, which I actually did, and I actually went.
Which way did you do it, Reece? Which way did you do it?
I think the clue's in what he said.
So I can remember. Hang on, I went to York that year. That was 10 years ago. So it must have been away. And then I realised we were doing it because we were playing York at home. So I was actually on the pitch with Gina laying a wreath for Humber.
for Simon, so was I. Yes.
Yeah, and I've got, surprisingly enough, after one of your close friends has passed, the football kind of went into the distance. I cannot remember this at all,
It's completely understandable under these circumstances.
but I'll go for a win.
It was a draw, and
1-1.
1-1. At least you got that.
Yeah.
And Humber will be looking down on you,
Yeah.
proud of you for scraping that point. And the bonus question: who was Pompey's manager for the match?
Oh my God.
2015.
2015. Not Richie Barker.
No, not Richie Barker. It's a bit of a trick question because it was Gary Waddock who was standing in as caretaker manager for that game.
That well-known legend of Pompey managerial success.
Yes. Right, so I'm going to give you got one more each, just to let you know. The scores at the moment are Reece 5 and Scott 3. It's a very low-scoring game, this.
We've let you down, Phil, badly.
Both of you.
After all your hard work, we are just
both
rubbish.
of you employing a low block for this game. So, Scott?
Jose Mourinho's quiz style.
Yes. The numbers remaining are number 9, number 3, number 6, number 2, and number 4.
Go Colby, number 9, please.
Number 9. 2024, last season. So you're going to rack up some points here.
We've done this one, haven't we?
No.
Okay.
It's Lincoln City. Was that home or away, Scott?
It was at home.
It was at home.
It was at home.
Did we win?
I should know this, obviously, because it was when we had the presentation and the celebration. But I'm going to go for no. It was a draw.
No, it was a win. We won. What?
Okay.
Do you want to hazard a guess at the score?
2-0.
It was 2-0.
Yeah,
and
it's one of those games you go
point,
to because it's like the football's so secondary. You've won the title, and it's like everyone's there having a party and everything else, and the 90 minutes. Just get the 90 minutes out of the way. Give us the trophy. Go on then.
So, the scores are tied at 5-5 at the moment. So to give yourself a lead heading into Reece's question, who scored Pompey's first goal? I'll buy you a pint if you get this, Scott.
Well, I was hoping you're going to buy me a pint tomorrow anyway. Didn't know I had to earn it. Right. Well, that must mean it's really, really difficult. So I'm going to go for. Is he playing in the team currently, or is it someone who's left? Give me that.
I'll give you a clue. He doesn't play for us anymore.
No. Okay. So I'll go for. God. No, I can't think of anyone. No,
It was
gone completely blank.
It was Miles Pert Harris.
Miles Pat Harris. God. Okay.
So
Yeah.
Reece, you can choose number 2, 3, or 6, and
6.
you just need to get
Okay.
a shot on target.
No chance then. Number 6, please.
Number 6. Okay. So number 6, 2020, played Fleetwood Town. Was it a home or away?
I'll go home.
Okay, it was home. What was did we win, lose, or
I
draw?
think we might.
We drew. Have a go at the score?
2-2.
It was 2-2. Remarkable.
Back of the net.
Well done,
So
Reece.
for the bonus point, the scorer of Pompey's first goal is actually 8th in the list of all-time Pompey appearances, having represented the Blues 239 times.
Oh
Who
dear.
is he? I know that's this came as a bit of a shock to me. He's the 8th. He's played for Pompey the 8th
Ronan Curtis.
most number of times.
Ronan Curtis.
No, he's about 10th. Sean Raggett.
Good old
Good
Sean
old
Raggett.
Raggers.
So
Yeah.
there we go. Reece, you've scored 7 points. Scott, you scored 5 points. And coincidentally, the 2 years that you didn't pick, we played Accrington Stanley both times.
Who are they?
Okay.
Well,
Right.
mate, that was a particularly fantastically poor showing. But you're actually right.
Oh yeah,
The
awful.
football is just completely gone out the window. If apart from when they relegated the Scummers with West Brom or something like that, you just don't.
No one remembers the last game,
No.
or
If you were,
when we beat Cheltenham 6-1.
if you asked me any of the scores in the games from 1979, that was one of my first seasons I went, I'd probably tell you, and whether Brisley or Biley scored or whatever. But yeah, 2 or 3 years ago, I can't remember a thing. Thanks, Phil. So we obviously one more game we haven't covered yet before we go on to a discussion about who will go down, because it's not going to be Pompey. Yes.
Yay!
So the party could start in Sheffield Wednesday with nearly 4,000 fans travelling to Hillsborough. A surprise start for youngster Harvey Blair and keeper Killip was the talking point. Wednesday scored first with the help of not one, but 2 miss-hit shots that ended up with the ball bobbling into the corner of the net. Pompey were not going to just settle for that, though, and Murphy laid the ball on a plate with a great cross for Blair to tap in his first senior goal. The rest of the game was a bit of a non-event, with Wednesday having the best chances, but none of them troubled Killip, and the points were shared. Pompey ending the day with one game to go on 16th and 53 points.
52.
Is it 52?
Yeah,
Sorry,
52,
I thought it was 53. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to check that just in case. But anyway,
sure it's 50.
So really good for no, it's 53. So shut up, Reece.
Hey?
Yeah.
It's because the BBC looks at the tables of the actual game, which is quite useful. Yeah, my sincere apologies. Thank you.
No, that's all right, mate. No, that's fine. Well, I was looking at the BBC table, so I don't know which BBC table you were
It was the
looking
one
at,
for
but the
what?
one
It was
the BBC. Ah, okay. So Wednesday hadn't happened. That explains it. So yeah. I was absolutely delighted for Blair. I mean, it wasn't the best game for him because he still had that ability to fall over with no one near him, or even when he did get tackled to fall over. And I really think that if anything over the summer, someone needs to just say to him, slow down. You just need to slow down, Harvey. You've got all the pace in the world. You just don't need to use it every time you've got the ball. So I hope he looks and works with Murphy over the summer about how and when to put on the afterburners, because there's clearly a player there, I think, and despite his problems, I think he's had a great end to the season with a few appearances and a goal now. So that will give him enormous confidence.
I think he was. Somebody told me he was training a lot with Salah when he was at Liverpool. But I think you're right. He's got bags of pace. He just looks like a player who needs a season on loan somewhere. He looks like a player who has never played professional football consistently, and it's in there. How quickly he can get it out from him, I don't know, but he looks pacey whenever he runs. Yeah, I agree. There's a player in there. It's a pretty drab game, but it was a point. Great goal. So yeah, I mean, it was wasn't a fantastic game, was it? But
Might be more interesting, Phil, for rather than discuss a dull game, is for you to. You went away with your daughter. Tell us about your day more than anything else, rather than the game.
Yeah, so it's a long drive. I will get. I will. I'm quite happy to say that it's a much longer drive on the way back when the M1 goes down to one lane for no reason for
Nasty.
what felt like about 100 miles. Yeah, got to Sheffield. The last time I went to Sheffield was for we got there just after kickoff and took our seats in the Leppings Lane end just in time to see poor old Yoshi pick the ball out the net. So my hopes weren't that high. Got there, got to the ground much earlier this time, 45 minutes before kickoff. No pies, no sausage rolls, no water. Not the greatest experience. We found ourselves in a part of the ground that I'd probably like to call teenage Burberry, which was fun. I had I had to tell my daughter not to clap along to certain chants, which have really got no place in football anymore, which she didn't quite understand. But
Yeah, I think I
that
know the
was fun.
ones.
But it was a classic end of season affair, really. I think everyone was very buoyant. A lot of songs came out, some good, some bad. But it was on the beach day. It really was. I think Sheffield Wednesday put up more of a fight than I thought they would do. The fans were quite disappointed because there's a lot of banners, a lot of posters being and things being handed out before the game about their current owners because they find themselves in a horrible situation with their current owners, and which obviously as a Pompey fan we have to sympathise with. But there was very little solidarity.
Venky's still there, are they? Is it
No,
Venky
that's
still?
Blackburn. That's Blackburn. It's
Blackburn.
Chancerai, which sounds very much like a gentleman that we should not speak of. It may even be him. We don't know. But what I found disappointing was their fans were quite quiet. They sort of waved their balloons around. There's some yellow and black balloons which they had for the day. Waved them around a bit, but they showed very little solidarity with the team. And as the game petered out, the ground was sort of emptying quite quickly. Yeah, it was a funny game, really. Nothing particularly memorable in it. It was nice to see Ben Killett get a run out. I think the key thing there was obviously we've had Archer as our primary backup this season, but I think Killett is very much more in the mould of Nico Schmidt, and I think I don't want to second guess the manager, but I think he's taking a close look at a keeper that he can bring on or use as a backup who plays in a very similar way. Because we're talking about Saydee offering something different. I think with goalkeepers, you don't want to offer something different. When you bring on if you have to bring on a keeper, keeper gets injured or sent off, whatever, you bring on another keeper, you want them to almost be a carbon copy of the keeper you've got, so you don't have to change your game plan. And I think that was possibly one of the reasons why we let Norris go. That Norris wasn't the sort of sweeper keeper that Nico is. So yeah, it was good to see. It was good to see Harvey Blair get run out. I mean, I echo what Scott said. Really, he just seems very eager to show how good he is. He's kind of had a wasted year, really, because I know we were linked with him 2 years ago, and it'd be nice if he'd had a year in League One. And I'm hoping if he doesn't go out on loan, I'm hoping next season he'll have learned a few things. That apparently Josh Murphy had said to him before the game, if I get the ball on the left, get yourself into the box, and he did exactly that. He put himself exactly where you want a winger to be when the other winger's got the ball, which is right on top of the 6-yard box. I think my daughter would be listening to that because she had training this week. They just moved up to playing 11 aside, and she did exactly that at one point. And I never thought I'd be saying that was very Harvey Blair of you. So I was quite proud of that.
I'm sure Harvey Blair would be delighted about that. As when you met Saydee on the way home as well, didn't you?
We did, yeah. My daughter's favourite player, and he spotted her in Warwick Services, which was very nice. So all good. But yeah, lovely day out, a long drive, and inconsequential game, really.
I've got to say, well done, Phil, for doing that match report and not mentioning Pringles once.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that. £5.40 for 2 small pots of Pringles. I mean, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I heard from quite a few other people that I think all the catering staff had gone on holiday early because there was very little left. Yeah, so that it must have been a quite a febrile atmosphere with no one with any liquid refreshments. Dazelle turned up at my son's school today. Apparently, his son's been at school all year. And he made the mistake of turning up to pick him up from school today. So he had his whole year's kids jumping all over him and so they took him over the park and he had a kickabout with him, which is great.
That's nice.
Yeah, so they're coming out the woodwork. Yeah, so we're not going down. So we've got 4 likely candidates: Hull, Luton, Preston, and Derby. Reece, who's your money going to be on, and why?
I think also technically Stoke are in there as well, aren't they? I think they're on. Assuming I'm looking at the right championship table, by the way, they're on 50 points.
Which week is it?
And Hull are on. I've double checked. Fair question. But Hull are on 48, Luton are on 49, Preston on 49, Derby on 49, Stoke on 50. So it's one of 5. I mean, Argyle and Cardiff are down, aren't they? But Plymouth aren't going to
I think there's a
overturn.
reason why Stoke can't go down, and I can't remember it off the top of my head.
Okay.
Because obviously Derby and Luton both can't win because Derby are playing Luton. Yeah,
Right. Okay.
I think, aren't they? No, sorry. Let's have a look at the fixtures. Let's rewind. Hold on. There is a reason why Stoke are not in it. No, so Derby are playing Stoke. There you go.
Right.
So Derby are playing Stoke. So Stoke just need to not lose,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they'll be up. So sorry, Stoke are technically in it. You're right, but it's more likely going to be one of those 4, I think.
I
You think I could give you half the press, the unlikely scenario in which Stoke can go down, and apparently involves a 6-6 draw.
Oh,
there you go. Well, thank you for confirming that. I mean,
Do you know? No, here we go. Here we go. This is it. That can happen. That would save someone. But basically, Stoke would have to lose by 6 goals and end with a worse goal difference than Luton, or they lose 5-0 and Luton draw 3-all, or they lose 5-0 and Luton at least score at least 4 goals in a draw with West Brom.
okay. I think we can safely say Stoke are unlikely to go down. So, but out of that lot, I mean, out of the 4 that are left, I mean, I think we're going to be pretty up for it. I think I know he's going to change things around. They're going to be nervous. Is Kamara going to turn up at last? It's going to be nervy, but it wouldn't surprise me if Hull do go down and we beat them. So, I mean, who would I like to see go down? Probably Derby. So, although Luton's an absolutely terrible away day, so that wouldn't complain about that. But yeah, it's going to be listening to the radios and in a relaxed, calm way.
Do you think Hull will get anything from us?
A draw at best. I think. I mean, their form has been all over the place. You don't know who's going to turn up. I mean, Preston. If you look at it, actually, Preston have lost the last 4 and draw 2 before that. So on form, Preston look like one of the worst. Should actually be going down. I mean, Hull have won 2, lost 3, drawn 1. So Derby and Luton have won their last 2, and Plymouth have left it too late. So yeah, well, on that, I'm going to say Preston.
Okay, Phil.
Well, I've got a horrible feeling we're going to. So I'm cards on the table, right? A mate of mine is a Hull City fan, and I really, I would not like. I don't want Hull City to go down. Equally, there's nothing like lording it over one of your mates who supports a different team. That's always a good thing. I remember when we knocked Man United out the FA Cup with a very dubious goal. It was my mate's birthday. He's a lifelong Man United fan. So mate's birthday. I was drinking his beer on his birthday in his flat, and we won. And obviously, I was quite, sort of like reserved in the way I dealt with that. And so I'd like nothing more than to give my mate Pete an absolute earful when we beat them tomorrow. But at the same time, I don't want to be complicit in sending them down. I think we will. Who'd I like to see go down? I'd like to see Derby go. Don't like Derby. Don't like their fans. No, no. I've got a horrible feeling Hull are going to go. Hull are going to go.
Yeah, if Hull get a point, which I like you, Reece, I don't think they'll beat us. They may get a point. I don't think there's any way that Preston. I don't think there's any way that Preston are going to get anything from Bristol City. Bristol City had a chance to make it a little bit easier for themselves, but got walloped by Leeds midweek. So they are only 1 point above Millwall. So they are desperate for a win to make sure that they can hold off everybody else who's in the chasing pack. I can't see. Yeah, Preston haven't won since they beat us, and we all know how annoyed we were about that loss because there was no way we should have lost that game. So they could quite easily be even only on 47 points and be in a real bind. So yeah, I think Hull will get a point and Preston will go down because and Hull will do it on a couple of goals difference. But I also want Hull to stay up because I think if we're looking towards next season, we've got some very strong teams coming up. So who's going to be the bottom three next season? I think Hull are in. I think Hull are one of those teams that if they scrape up this season, I think they'll be nailed on to go down next season because they just don't have the infrastructure or the management to keep them going. Plymouth did it last year; they just about stayed up, and then look at them this season; they've gone down. Not fairly easily, but before the end of the season. So yeah, I think it. I wouldn't be unhappy if it was Hull, but I think it'll be Preston.
I think it's one of those scenarios where I think it's the kind of thing that Sky Sports News absolutely dreams of, because once we'll all be in the sunshine enjoying the game, the TV is going to be fantastic because you'd imagine that last relegation spot is going to change on a sort of every 5 minutes, and you'll see Paul Merson and Clinton Morrison falling off their chairs, and it's going to be carnage. So yeah, unfortunately we're going to miss out on that, but yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting one.
Well, we're all going to go and get pissed afterwards, so that's going to be good that will be a good end to the season. Thank you very much, gents. We're going to do this one more time. We'll do an end of season wrap up in a couple of weeks, so I do hope everyone who listens to us joins us for that, even though the season will be well done and dusted. So thank you very much again, guys. Great to speak to you again. As I just mentioned, I will see you in the pub tomorrow, and I hope everyone who is listening to this, maybe over the weekend or next week. I hope you had a great last game of the season as well, and I hope you sank a few pints or drinks, whatever you like to do. Have a great weekend, and we will see you one more time in a couple of weeks. Thank you very much.